Have you ever wondered how to deal with the negative Nancy's of the dental practice?
At the Dental MVP, we are obsessed with giving you easy tips and tricks for you, the dental professionals. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss out. We all have them, the negative Nancy's, the Debbie Downers, whatever you call them. In this video, we're going to help you get comfortable with having a conversation, even when they're in a bad mood.
Studies have shown that even having just one toxic person on your team can lead to decreased job satisfaction, increased stress, lowered productivity, higher turnover rates, sleep problems, poor mental health, and worse, rude behavior is contagious. This is something that can spread through the full culture of your practice. With toxic people can have such a tremendous impact on your day-to-day activities. It can ruin your mood overall. It's going to distract you from your work. It affects the moods of others as well. In our personal lives, it's great because we have the flexibility to choose who is it that we want to be around, who has a positive attitude or is inspirational to us. At work, we don't have that same luxury. In this video, we're going to go over how to have easier conversations with these toxic people so that it doesn't have an impact on your personal mood.
Ever have someone who brings their troubles into the workplace with them? You know who I'm talking about. The one who somehow nothing ever seems to be their fault. You know, like their chart notes didn't happen because the patient got checked in late, because the doctor was running behind and somehow that affected them, or the room wasn't stocked and that's why they didn't get their chart notes done. We all know who those people are. This is what I mean by the negative Nancy's of the practice. You all have them. We've been there before. We get it. How do you have a conversation with them though? First things first, remember this is not a competition. No one wins. It's a conversation. Let's go over some tips and tricks to help these conversations be a little more comfortable.
So first things first, let's get real. Recognize, empathize, acknowledge, and listen.
Recognize. Recognize their truth. When you are in a situation where someone is upset, they always have a reason, right? Whether or not you agree with it, doesn't matter at this moment. Recognize what their truth is. Look at it from their perspective and say, that's where they're coming from. If someone is frustrated and they feel like they ran behind because the room wasn't stocked, you don't have to agree with that. That's their truth, and that's why they think that they're running behind. So just recognize it.
In the dental practice, it can be so hard to think that we each have our own versions of what's going on, whether you're at the front desk, you're hygiene, assisting, you're the doctor. A big way that we can approach this is trying the Beachball approach. So we just hand the conversation back and forth between one another to try to understand what it is that they're seeing from their perception, whether it was the doctor was running late and it put them behind, or maybe somebody got held up at the front desk, which made it to where they couldn't walk their patient out and then they got running behind. But just bouncing it back and forth to try to better understand what it is that's going on from their perspective.
Next step is E, empathize. And no, I did not say sympathize. Sympathize is more like, oh, you poor thing. That never feels good. Don't sympathize with them. Empathy is just recognizing the emotion. We've all had the same emotions before, so recognize what the emotion is and think of a time that you have also felt that. Empathize with them.
A, acknowledge. As you're speaking with them, just take a moment to pause and acknowledge what it is that they're telling you. Try to say it back to them and reflect to just let them know that you are listening and that you care.
A quick, easy example of this would be, I'm so annoyed right now.
Really? Why are you so annoyed?
Susie never restocks the room and it always makes me run behind.
That must be really frustrating to have that impact your day.
It does.
You just try to repeat similar words back as what they're saying for recognizing their emotions. You don't have to agree with it, with what it is that they're feeling. It's just giving that recognition to them.
L is for listen. Now I know this can be really hard for us. Us in the dental profession, we are educators. We love to chime in and give our advice even when it's not necessary. So take a moment and just start listening to those who are complaining. You need to remember that this is not a competition. It's a conversation. No one wins in a conversation where they're upset. So just start listening to their feelings, and that's going to help you understand them better and move past the negative emotions. When having a real conversation, we also want to make sure that our body language is telling the same story. If we're listening, we want to ensure that our body is also showing that we're listening. make sure to watch our video on body language to learn some tips and tricks to really show someone that you're engaged in the conversation that you're having. When it comes to conflict, though, you want to be careful of the micro expressions that will happen on our face.
You can't talk about body language without talking about micro expressions. So also make sure to check out our video on micro expressions to understand how you can help to better understand people and what you may be conveying with your own body language and micro expressions.
One tip that we're going to give you when it comes to conflict conversations, that's probably the most important thing you can do with your body, is that of mirroring. And what mirroring is it's discreetly copying their body language. And I use the word discreetly. Let's give you an example of what that looks like. So pay attention to our body language. Ugh, I'm so frustrated right now.
Oh, what's so frustrating?
Every time I come into my room, the room is not stocked.
I can see how that would really just inconvenience your day.
It does.
Now, you can go overboard with copying or mirroring body language, so don't get too crazy with it. We don't want it to be like a direct copy.
When my hands went like this, if Chastity had then followed up with like, I can see how you're so frustrated, then it would become kind of obvious, like, what is she doing here? If you watch the video again, rewind it, and watch what Chastity did and said. She did a one-handed, I see. And that was equivalent to my big expression. So mirroring is not exactly replicating, but finding some tendencies or some similarities in the body language that you can do to show that you're on the same level. This helps build rapport and make people feel like they're connected during conversation.
Using the REAL acronym is going to help you to build better relationships with your colleagues, and it's also going to help you to understand their perspectives in a non-judgmental, non-invasive way. So that is it. We're not trying to convince someone that they have to be happy or that they have to see our perspective on something. At this point, we just want to ensure that they feel like they're heard and that they're understood. Realistically, sometimes we just need to complain.
Yeah, especially as women. We used to have this really great approach to this. At the end of the day, me and one of my great friends, we were hygienists together. At the end of the day, we would do a people suck. We would start by people suck. And then we'd go throughout the list of reasons why people suck that day. And this is what made us feel better. We were never giving each other advice on how to handle the situations or anything like that. We just needed to get it out. And once it's been said, we felt much better and we weren't taking that home with us. So sometimes people just need to complain and you could be the ear that listens to it.
Now, if there is a real issue that's happening, we want to ensure that our conversations are able to get to that point and address any major problems that are going on. So make sure to watch our video on conflict resolution to ensure that goals from conversations are reached.
I challenge you, the next time you run into a difficult conversation, instead of running in the other direction, go ahead and stand there and get real for a minute. I hope this helps you and like the video if it did. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel, The Dental MVP, so you never miss out.